Ever feel like you're drowning in data? Like there's just too much information out there.
Yeah, totally. Well, today we're going deep on something that could help with that. An AI-driven decision support system. We've got these documents from Terasynth, and their prototype is already doing some pretty amazing stuff.
And what I find really interesting is that Terasynth isn't new to this whole AI thing.
Oh, right.
They've got this project, Rearmor, that uses AI and VR for PTSD therapy.
I've heard of that.
And that shows they can take complex data, make it user-friendly.
So exactly, yeah, make it actually useful.
And not just that. They've also worked with the Navy, streamlining workflows for their training systems, which again proves they can translate this complex tech stuff into practical solutions.
So they've got the experience, and now they're applying it to this decision support system, which really is all about tackling that information overload.
It is.
Like a super-powered research assistant.
Right.
But one that can analyze mountains of data, open source intelligence, public data, all that. All of it. And not just analyze it, but actually understand it in context.
Oh, that's key.
Like they gave this example where the prototype flagged a fake government account, spreading harmful stuff, right? But it also understood that the source itself was unreliable because it was anonymous.
It's like a built-in BS detector.
Exactly. And it can analyze statements too, flag potentially concerning ones for a human to review.
So it's not just about the AI making all the calls.
No, it's about that human-in-the-loop approach.
That's the balance, right? It's not AI taking over. It's AI making us smarter, more efficient. So let's break down what this prototype can actually do. It goes way beyond just processing data, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing at entity recognition and assessment. So it can identify and classify any entity, a person, organization, location, event, you name it.
Okay, so it's recognizing these things.
It is, but it goes further.
How so?
It figures out how relevant each entity is to the situation at hand.
Yeah.
It analyzes the sentiment around them, like are people positive, negative, neutral about this entity, and it even quantifies how strong that sentiment is.
Wow.
And don't forget, source reliability. That plays a big role too, helping you separate fact from fiction.
Okay, so we've got entity recognition, sentiment analysis, and source evaluation. What else?
Statement analysis is huge. So the prototype can look at a statement, summarize the intent or purpose behind it,
Oh, that's interesting.
and flag anything potentially concerning.
It's like it can read between the lines.
Exactly.
So it's pulling out incredible insights from just raw information, all thanks to those sophisticated algorithms and machine learning models. It's not just brute force processing, it's intelligent analysis. But what about the human element? How does Terasynth make sure humans are still in control?
Right. Well, they've woven this human-in-the-loop approach throughout the system. So if the AI's confidence level dips below a certain point, it raises a flag for human review.
Like a safety net. So critical decisions aren't just made by an algorithm. What happens when that flag goes up?
It can trigger different responses, notifications, more complex actions even. Like it could alert a human analyst or even kickstart more data gathering.
It's flexible. Make sure human expertise is there when needed.
Exactly. It's about that synergy between AI and human intelligence, working together to make better decisions. And that's where this prototype shines.
So we've established that this prototype is really smart, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface of what it can do.
Right.
We know it's great at analyzing data, but can it actually help you figure out what to do with that information?
That's what I find so fascinating about this. It's not just about insights, it's about action.
Okay, so how does it do that?
Well, they're using these things called large language models.
LLMs.
LLMs.
Okay.
And they're not just using them to analyze the data,
Right.
but to actually generate courses of action based on that analysis.
So it's like having a strategic advisor built into the system.
Exactly.
So instead of just saying, hey, here's what's going on,
Right.
it's saying, here's what you could do about it.
That's it. And these LLMs are designed to think outside the box, come up with strategies a human might miss.
That's a game changer. But is that risky? Letting an AI make strategic decisions.
I hear you. But again, it comes back to that human-in-the-loop approach.
Okay, so they've thought of that.
The system isn't calling the shots, it's offering options for a human to evaluate.
Like a brainstorming partner, but super powered.
Exactly.
I like that. But how do these LLMs actually work? Like, how do they go from raw data to a strategy?
Think of it like this. It's a master strategist piecing together a puzzle.
Okay.
So the LLM takes all these data points, entities, sentiments, events, all that,
Yeah.
and uses its knowledge of strategy tactics to assemble them into a coherent plan.
So it's not just random ideas, it's a deep understanding of the situation.
Right. And different LLMs have different strengths, biases even. So Terasynth actually chooses the best model for each situation, the right tool for the job.
Makes sense. So we've got the data analysis, we've got the strategy generation. How does this all come together for the user? How do they actually interact with it and make decisions?
And here's where their focus on user experience comes in. They're building the system to be intuitive, easy to use.
Even for non-tech people.
Exactly. They're using visualizations.
Yeah?
Natural language processing.
Okay,
So
scary.
you don't need a computer science degree to understand what the AI is telling you.
So you can just ask questions, like you would a human.
Right. You can ask in plain English, and it'll respond in a way you understand.
Now, a lot of decision-making, particularly in fields like the military, relies on something called the ODI loop. Does this system tie into that at all?
Absolutely.
Refresh my memory.
ODI loop is observe, orient, decide, act. So making fast decisions in dynamic environments.
Yeah, right.
And that's where this system excels. It automates key parts of that process, speeds up the loop.
So it helps you decide faster,
Yes,
but the human is still in control.
always. It's about augmenting human capabilities,
Yeah.
not replacing them.
So what's next for this system? What are they working on for the future?
They're really focused on making it even more adaptable, responsive.
In what way?
Real-time learning is a big one.
Real-time learning. So not just the data it was trained on, but constantly learning as it encounters new info.
Exactly. So imagine it can adjust its analysis, recommendations on the fly as the situation changes.
That's incredible. So with all these features, what's the big picture goal here?
Empowering decision makers. Give them the information, insights to handle those complex, rapidly changing situations.
Okay.
Military operation, business deal, political crisis even.
It's all about making sense of a chaotic world, right?
Yeah, it is.
Taking decisive action. In a world that's only getting more complex, unpredictable, that's more important than ever. So where does this all lead? What's the future of AI-driven decision support?
Exciting future.
Yeah.
As AI gets even better, we'll see these systems get more sophisticated, intuitive, more integrated into how we make decisions.
It really is mind-blowing. It could revolutionize how we approach decisions in every field.
It could, but it's important to remember it's a tool,
Right.
and the real power is in how we choose to use it.
That's a good point. We have to be thoughtful,
Responsible.
ethical
Yes.
in our approach to AI.
It's changing the world, and it's up to us to shape that change in a positive direction.
We've talked a lot about what this AI can do, from, spotting fake news to suggesting out-of-the-box strategies. It seems like the possibilities are pretty huge, but it's all happening so fast. What are your biggest takeaways? What excites you about this? Or maybe what worries you a little bit?
I think the most exciting part is really seeing AI move beyond those simple tasks, right?
Yeah.
And stepping into this realm of complex decision-making. And that's incredibly powerful, but it also comes with a huge responsibility to use it ethically.
It does feel like, giving someone this incredibly powerful tool. It could build amazing things, but also do a lot of damage if it's not used correctly.
Exactly. And that's why these conversations are so important.
Yeah. We need to talk about the ethics, the potential biases that might be built in, the long-term consequences. AI shouldn't be developed in a vacuum. It needs input from everyone.
This specific AI we've been talking about is all about helping people make better decisions, especially when they're dealing with a ton of information. Do you think that's a good overall goal for AI? Or should we be focusing on other things?
Helping humans make better decisions, that's a really worthy goal. But it's important to remember that better is subjective. What makes a decision good, and whose values are baked into the AI's decision-making process? Those are questions we can't ignore.
That's a good point. It's not enough to just say, let the AI decide. We have to make sure it's aligned with our values, with society's goals.
Exactly. And that alignment is an ongoing process. It requires open conversations, transparency from the people developing these systems, and feedback from the people using them. AI shouldn't be this black box. It should be something we all understand and help shape. One thing I like about this Terasynth system is that it keeps humans in the loop. It's not about handing over control to the AI. It's about using it to make us better at what we do.
Yes, that human-in-the-loop approach is essential.
Yeah.
AI can analyze data, it can pick up on patterns, and even create different options. But ultimately, it's humans who need to understand all those subtle nuances, consider the ethical side of things, and make that final decision.
This has been a really fascinating deep dive. We've learned so much about this system and what it could mean for the future, but it's clear that the potential of AI is huge, and so are the challenges.
Hmm.
What's one final thought you'd leave our listeners with as they think about this whole world of AI-driven decision-making?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. AI can revolutionize how we make decisions.
It can.
But it's up to us to use it wisely, ethically. So embrace those possibilities, absolutely. But stay engaged, ask questions, and be part of the conversation that's shaping this technology. Because the future of AI is tied to our own future, and we need to make sure it's a future where everyone can thrive.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI decision support. We'll see you next time for another exploration of cutting-edge tech.